Hello everyone, and today we're back into another tier list, and today we're going to be ranking all of the Jolly Village Loomians. So, all of the Jolly Village Loomians that you can find in Jolly Village will be ranked. Well, not all of them. We're not going to rank Dragoon and Wiki Wiki and Chartiki because those are not actual reskins and not actually exclusive Loomians. The reskins I will count just to add more to the list, but Wiki Wiki, Chartiki, and I think Dragoon will not count for this list. But the Christmas Kizune and Ice Mutagon reskins will count. So we will count. So just pretend that these two are their reskins, just for the sake of the list. But every other Jolly Village Loomian counts. Icicle, Festiver, Wobblisk. We even got Aclos. We even got Wintrex and Tundraland. And then we got the two reskins. So let's head right into this list right now. Starting with Icicle. And Icicle is a very interesting case. The reason is why is because I could see a lot of people putting Icicle and only okay. But let's look at some of the positives. Ice Fury is a very interesting typing. I mean, the typing is very interesting, and it has a lot of moves that it can use. While it doesn't have the most attack, it has a lot of coverage moves it can use. It can use Thunder Chomp, Blaze Chomp, it can use Chili Chomp, Ice Hammer, Soul Storm. It even has Bag of Tricks, which is really good. Its ability Partying Gift is also really good at getting chipped down on other Loomians. It can also Baffle. It also has Rejuvenate. It surprisingly has a solid amount, considering that it is only an Icicle. The only massive flaw with Icicle is I guess it is weak to a couple really rough typings. I mean, it is weak to fire and light, which is very rough. Also, it has a very low energy stat. But even then, Icicle still has a lot going for it, and it's really good. Probably one of the best Loomians for normal types, and also really good for air types as well, which makes Icicle, surprisingly, in the good tier. Icicle is barely in the good. Not quite an okay, in my opinion. I think Icicle is good. Now, I do think there is a Loomian that does perform its roles better, but Icicle does have some good perks, and I like where it's at. Festiver, okay. And it's probably, and spoiler alert, it's probably is the worst Loomian out of the Sweet Retreat. It makes sense. It has 22 speed. It's probably one of the slowest things in the game. And yes, it does hit very hard as the chilled version. And yes, its secret ability is very good and it has alright bulk. Problem is that grass and ice is just not a very good typing. Your quad weak to fire, weak to bug, weak to brawler. Those are three common typings that you really are weak to. Especially fire, like oh my gosh. While this thing does also counter air types, it is just really bad. It just doesn't do it very well. Regif is okay. The Regif one is okay and can work very well. The problem is that there's Cosmere and Fishcarnia that does it better. So why don't you just use those two? And the chilled version is only really good under Bane of Haste. Otherwise, Christmas Cradle is actually a better Loomian than Festiver. I am freaking serious. If you want to use the chilled version without using Bane of Haste, Christmas Cradle is a better option. So yeah, Festiver is okay, and it's probably going to be placed in the worst here. So yeah, Festiver is really bad. Wobblisk, I'm not sure where to place Wobblisk because there's a bunch of things this thing has. Ignorant is amazing for preventing sweeps. You have Driving Force, Deep Freeze to hit water types, and you even have Electro Punch, Mud Spatter, and Luster Loop. Those are three different types of coverage moves which are extremely varied. I mean, Earth, Electric, and Light are really varied for a Loomian like Wobblisk, considering that it only has Ice for offense other than that, which is kind of crazy. And of course, Driving's Force makes it amazing. And it is also a barb setter, so it can also place barbs. The only flaw I would potentially say for Wobblisk is that it doesn't have any reliable recovery. Like, it has Luster Loop, but since it's not Stab, it's not going to really get that much health back. So you are pretty much relying on Health Amulet. And if you do not have Luster Loop, you only get Health Amulet health back, and that's it. You pretty much are forced to run Health Emule on it, but despite that, though, Ignorant is an amazing ability. Has a solid secret ability when used with Sharpen, and it's just a very good Loomian overall. Probably one of the best tanks currently in the game. It's a really weird tank. It's a fun tank to use, unlike some of the other tanks that are used in the meta right now. So honestly, Wobbliss is going to be placed in the good tier, just above Icicle. I think it's better than Icicle, don't worry, but I don't think it's quite in the great tier. I think there are a couple other Loomians that deserve the great tier more, but it might be the best of the good tier Loomians. That I will say. Aclos is only good. It has a lot of perks. It hits very hard, it has Brawl Boost, it can get Deep Freeze, so it can hit water types, although not really, because it's not going to really use its range attack. But it's there. Body Slam is there. You still have Body Slam. So, yep, you could still hit those water types. And it's quite a bit to go for. It hits very hard. It has decent speed. And it's pretty tanky. Well, it doesn't have recovery like Wobbliss. It hits a lot harder, which makes it really good. And it's also an Ice type, which is not weak to fire. Heck, it resists fire because of its ability. It can't get burned. There's actually a lot of perks with Aclos. The flaws are, though, is that, it doesn't tend to hit hard enough. It doesn't have an ability that really increases its damage. You pretty much need a Brawl Boost in order to do major damage. And also, running items on it is kind of odd. You can run Raidful Plushie, but even then, no, that really doesn't work. You could run Health Amulet as a tanky one. You do have a lot of items to run, but I don't know. Aclos just doesn't have that if factor unlike other ice types. I mean, Wintrex is a lot faster and it has the Wise ability, which can hit more. Wobbliss is a better tank. Icicle can baffle out of bad situations. And yes, it's better than Festiver, but of course, I think 95% of Loomians is better than Festiver. So yeah, Aclos is really good on paper. It's just pretty hard to use in execution, so it's only in the good tier. Wintrex is great, though. I mean, come on. The Wise ability is really good. You can pretty much hit anything for neutral damage, which is just amazing. I think the only things you can't really hit for neutral damage is, I guess, Seer Knight. But even then, you have Mud Spatter as coverage, so you can actually hit Seer Knight for quad effectively, which is really nice. It also has Peace of Mind and Perch, so yeah, it has recovery and setup. You can even run Baffle on it. You have Rant. So yeah, you have a lot of moves you can run on Wintrex. And while it's not the tankiest thing in the world, and while sometimes it also doesn't hit hard enough again, you could run the Chill ability or Glide ability to make it hit harder and run faster as a sweeper. But the Wise ability is tending to be the best one because you can actually hit everything for at least neutral damage. Meaning that there are pretty much no counters for Wintrex, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, it is in the great tier, but I don't think it is the best Loomian in the update. I think Tundralin is the best Loomian out of Jolly Village. And I guess Wintrex and Tundralin is technically not from Jolly Village, but there are a couple reasons why I still rank Tundralin. One, it is the only place you can really evolve and get Tundralin at the moment. I hope they add like a snow feature in the future so you can get Tundralin for free to play. That would be very good. But yeah, Tundralin, it's probably one of the best melee tanks in the entire game. I mean, Resilience, Body Crash, Rejuvenate. I mean, I don't think there's really too much to say about Tundralin that has already been said. I don't know how this Loomian got past the drawing board. I don't know how this thing is also not in Ubers. That's another thing I also gotta say. How is Cephalops not in Ubers, but this thing... Like, how is Cephalops in Uber and this isn't? I really do not understand that at all. And yes, I get that it has low range defense, but even then, it can still tank a neutral hit pretty well. Even a couple super effective hits on the range side, too. Not many, but quite a few. So yeah, Tundralin is probably the best out of the Sweet Retreat Loomians. And out of Ikazune and Mutagon, out of the reskins, Ikazune isn't good. It can pretty much hit all the ice types, which is good, but, it is a lot frailer compared to Mutagon, which Mutagon we already talked about already. I mean, Brawl Boost Quick Punch you win, and if you run the tank one, you run Raidful Plushie, or you can run the Body Crash set. There's actually quite a few ways you can run Mutagon. You can even run the Ice Punch set if you don't want to have priority, so there's actually quite a few ways you could run Mutagon. It's an obvious Uber, and yeah, it makes sense that it's an Uber. I mean, this thing is OP. This thing is bulky. This thing hits hard. This thing has priority. This thing has Brawl Boost. This thing has everything. So yeah, That's why Mutagon is in the great tier. So, yeah, let's rank all these. So, yeah, let's see which one of these Loomians are the worst in the Jolly Village update, and which one of these are the best. The worst one is obviously Festiver. I mean, it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. Festiver is by far the worst Loomian in Jolly Village. Honestly, Christmas Cradle is better than Festiver in some areas. Honestly, I would recommend Christmas Cradle over Festiver. Keep your Christmas Cradles as Christmas Cradles. Unless you want to run a regift set. But other than that, keep your Christmas Cradles as the same. Because you need that extra speed to outspeed stuff. Unless you're running it under Beta Haste, which even then, there's melee tanks that can tank the hits anyway, like Obsidian and Himber. Although you do have Timber Thrash, which I guess can hit those, but that's still then, even then, they'll still live the hit, because they're melee tanks. Melee tanks can live the hits. And out of these three, I think the best out of these three is, I would probably say Mutagon, but I don't really want to put Mutagon in the best. I want to put Tundralin in the best, because it is only an Ice Mutagon reskin. So yeah, I'll put Tundralin in the best here. Although, I think overall, I think Mutagon is the best. But I have Tundralin in the best because, you know, you only get the reskin of Mutagon. You don't actually have to get Mutagon from the Jolly Village. It's just the Ice Mutagon. So yeah, here is my not sweet retreat. This is my Jolly Village tier list. I know this is kinda offset. I mean, it's gonna be another 4 or 5 months until Jolly Village comes back anyway. But hey, it's good to rank these early. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!